For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On the night of her wedding, in 2002, 25-year-old Iulia Stoica stepped away from a vibrant beachfront after-party on Miami Beach, Florida. She never returned to her new husband or her friends. Despite an extensive and immediate investigation by Miami Beach Police Department detectives, Iulia vanished without a trace from the popular 10th Street sands. For 13 agonizing years, her desperate family lived with the crushing weight of uncertainty and unanswered questions, their hopes dwindling with each passing day. Then, in 2015, a startling and unexpected discovery was made. A small, broken anklet, tangled in a forgotten towel bin inside a derelict Lifeguard shack, its charm still glittering with a distinctive resin. This is the complete investigation into what happened to Iulia Stoica. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now let's continue. Miami Beach in the summer of 2002 pulsed with an electric energy, a vibrant tapestry of sun, sand, and endless celebration. For Iulia Stoica, a radiant 25-year-old newlywed, the atmosphere was particularly intoxicating. She and her husband, surrounded by close friends and family, had just celebrated their union, and the joy of their new life together seemed boundless. As the evening drew to a close, the festivities moved from a formal reception to an impromptu after-party, spilling onto the soft, moonlit sands near the 10th Street Lifeguard stand. Laughter mingled with the gentle roar of the Atlantic, creating a soundtrack to what should have been an unforgettable night of happiness. Iulia, feeling the warmth of the evening air and perhaps a touch overwhelmed by the day's events, decided to step away from the immediate throng. She placed her small clutch onto a blanket near her friends, promising to return in just a moment. Her intention was simple: a brief respite, a quiet breath of the sea breeze before rejoining the revelry. No one saw her leave, nor did anyone register the exact moment she moved away from the group. Her absence was initially imperceptible amidst the shifting clusters of conversation and movement. Minutes stretched into a quarter of an hour, then longer. A casual glance around for Iulia turned into a more focused search. Her maid of honor, Beatrice Mora, was among the first to notice the prolonged absence, a flicker of unease beginning to replace her celebratory mood. Friends called out Iulia's name, their voices initially light, then tinged with growing concern. They walked the immediate perimeter of the party, peered towards the water's edge, and checked the nearby Lifeguard stand, but Iulia was nowhere to be found. The clutch lay undisturbed where she had left it, a silent sentinel to her sudden vanishing. The initial confusion gave way to a chilling apprehension. The celebratory din of the beach began to recede, replaced by a rising tide of fear. The friends, now frantic, expanded their search, desperately combing the sand and calling out into the darkness. As the minutes turned into an hour, the unthinkable began to settle in. Iulia Stoica had simply disappeared. With no other options and a growing sense of dread, the first desperate call was made to the Miami Beach Police Department, officially initiating the search for a bride who had vanished into the humid night, leaving behind only questions and a profound, terrifying void. The frantic call to the Miami Beach Police Department shattered the early morning calm, dispatching officers to the 10th Street Lifeguard stand where a newlywed had reportedly vanished. Within minutes, the usually serene stretch of sand was illuminated by the flashing lights of patrol cars, transforming the celebratory scene into a nascent crime scene. Detective Carla Pinda, a seasoned investigator with the MBPD, arrived shortly thereafter, her calm demeanor belying the urgency of the situation. She immediately took charge, recognizing the critical nature of the first few hours in any missing persons case, especially one with such an unsettling lack of initial clues. Pinda's first priority was to interview those who had last seen Iulia Stoica. The maid of honor, Beatrice Mora, still visibly shaken, recounted Iulia's last known actions. Stepping away for air, leaving her clutch behind, and her casual promise to return. Maura described Iulia as being in good spirits, exhilarated by the wedding and the afterpart. Why, offering no indication of distress or any desire to leave independently. Other friends corroborated this account, painting a picture of a joyful bride who simply stepped away and never reappeared. Their collective confusion and mounting fear underscored the baffling nature of the disappearance. As the sun began its ascent, casting long shadows across the beach, a comprehensive search operation commenced. Uniformed officers, joined by K-9 units, meticulously combed the sand, from the water's edge to the nearby dunes. Dive teams were dispatched to scour the shallow waters, while forensic technicians began processing the area around the lifeguard stand, hoping to find any discarded item, any footprint, any tangible trace of Iulia. The 10th Street Lifeguard shack itself, the last known vicinity, underwent a thorough but initial examination. Lifeguard Nico Furrer, who had been off duty during the incident but was called in, provided no immediate insights, having seen nothing out of the ordinary during his shift or in the hours leading up to the report. Despite the rapid deployment of resources and the exhaustive early efforts, the search yielded no immediate evidence. No struggle was apparent. No personal items belonging to Iulia were found beyond her clutch, and the vast expanse of the beach offered no definitive direction for the investigation. As the first day bled into the second, the initial confusion hardened into a growing concern. Iulia Stoica had seemingly evaporated into the Miami beach night, leaving behind only the chilling void of an unexplained disappearance, and a lead detective grappling with a profound lack of answers. The initial flurry of activity, the exhaustive searches, and the countless interviews that followed Iulia Stoica's disappearance soon yielded diminishing returns. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months without a single tangible breakthrough. The vast expanse of Miami Beach, once a vibrant backdrop to celebration, now seemed to have swallowed Iulia whole, leaving no trace. Without a body, without a suspect, and crucially, without any definitive evidence of foul play, the investigation found itself confronting a deepening void of information. Each potential lead dissolved into a dead end, and the initial urgency gradually gave way to a chilling stagnation. Detective Carla Pinda, despite her seasoned experience, found herself grappling with an exceptionally perplexing case. Her commitment remained unwavering, but the absence of a clear path forward became increasingly evident. She reviewed every statement, re-examined every inch of the 10th Street Lifeguard stand area, and pursued every speculative tip, yet the core mystery persisted. The emotional toll of a missing persons case, particularly one where a young life had simply vanished, weighed heavily. The file on Iulia Stoica grew thicker with reports of interviews, forensic analyses of the beach and the lifeguard shack, and detailed logs of search patterns, but none offered a conclusive answer. Public awareness, initially sparked by the tragic story of a vanished newlywed, began to wane. Media interest, once intense, faded as newer headlines emerged. Posters bearing Iulia's smiling face, once ubiquitous in the Miami Beach area, became weather-beaten and were eventually removed. The collective memory of her disappearance, sharp and painful at first, softened into a quiet, unanswered question for the wider community. For those closest to Iulia, and for Detective Pinda, however, the case remained a raw, open wound. After years of relentless but fruitless pursuit, the difficult decision was made to classify Iulia Stoica's file as a cold case. It was archived, moved from the active investigation room to a secure storage facility, a symbolic act of official closure that belied the internal struggle of those who had worked it. For Detective Pinda, the case was never truly closed. It simply entered a state of dormancy, waiting. 13 years passed in this silent limbo, a testament to the enduring mystery that had consumed a bride on her wedding night, leaving behind only the echo of what might have been. 13 years had passed since Iulia Stoica vanished into the Miami Beach night. The year was now 2015, and the vibrant stretch of sand near the 10th Street Lifeguard stand continued its ceaseless rhythm of tourist activity and ocean tides. The Lifeguard shack itself, a weathered wooden structure, had endured countless storms and sun-drenched days, its interior accumulating the forgotten detritus of seasons. The case of the vanished bride had long since receded from public consciousness, a forgotten tragedy filed away in the cold case archives of the Miami Beach Police Department, a ghost in the annals of unsolved mysteries. Then, a seemingly innocuous event shattered the long silence. During a routine end-of-season cleanout, a new lifeguard, meticulously clearing out years of accumulated items from the shack's storage, reached into a forgotten, dusty towel bin. His hand snagged on something unexpected, something metallic and tangled amongst faded, salt-crusted linens. He pulled it free, examining the small, tarnished object under the harsh glare of the afternoon sun. It was a broken anklet, its delicate chain snapped, a small, unassuming charm still attached. The lifeguard, adhering to protocol for any unusual find, reported it to his supervisor. The item made its way through official channels, eventually landing on the desk of a detective who, by chance, recognized the significance of the location and the potential age of the artifact. The 10th Street Lifeguard stand, the last known vicinity of Iulia Stoica, now yielded a tangible clue. Forensics was immediately notified. The broken anklet, a piece of jewelry that could easily belong to anyone, held an undeniable weight given its specific resting place. It was not found on the open beach, where it could have been merely lost, but concealed within the very structure Iulia had last been near, tangled in a bin that had likely gone undisturbed for years. The discovery sent a ripple through the MBPD. The call that Detective Carla Pinda had perhaps ceased to expect, yet never entirely given up on, finally came. The Iulia Stoica cold case, dormant for 13 agonizing years, was officially reopened. The anklet, a fragile link to a past tragedy, transformed a static file into an active investigation once more, injecting a desperate, yet potent, dose of hope into a mystery long considered unsolvable. The discovery of the anklet, a fragile metallic whisper from the past, injected a potent urgency into the dormant investigation of Iulia Stoica's disappearance. Detective Carla Pinda, now 13 years older and with an even deeper understanding of the relentless passage of time on evidence, approached the reopened case with a methodical precision. Her first directive was clear: subject the anklet and the contents of the forgotten towel bin to an exhaustive forensic examination, leveraging every advancement in scientific analysis developed in the intervening years. The initial examination in 2002 had been thorough for its time, but forensic capabilities had evolved dramatically. New techniques for DNA extraction, trace evidence analysis, and material identification offered avenues previously unavailable. The anklet itself became the central piece of evidence. Specialists meticulously photographed, cataloged, and then carefully processed it for any residual biological material, fibers, or trace elements. The broken clasp and the small charm, now tarnished, were of particular interest. Simultaneously, the entire contents of the towel bin, dusty, salt-encrusted linens, remnants of forgotten personal effects, and accumulated beach debris, were sieved, sifted, and scrutinized under microscopes. Every fragment, no matter how minute, was considered for its potential to hold a clue, to link Iulia to the shack, or to an unknown perpetrator. With new physical evidence in hand, Pinda authorized a series of re-interviews. Beatriz Mora, Iulia's maid of honor, was contacted again. 13 years had passed, but the trauma of her friend's disappearance remained. Pinda hoped that the passage of time, coupled with the new discovery, might trigger a forgotten detail, a fleeting memory that seemed insignificant then but could be crucial now. Lifeguard Nico Furrer was also sought out. Though his initial account had offered no leads, Pinda wanted to explore the history of the 10th Street Lifeguard shack itself. Had there been any alterations? Who had access? Were there any structural anomalies or hidden compartments that might have been overlooked? The investigation shifted its geographical focus back to the weathered wooden structure that had stood sentinel over Iulia's last known moments. Every plank, every nail, every crevice of the Lifeguard shack was re-examined, not just for what it might contain, but for what it might reveal about its past use and how the Anklet could have remained undisturbed for so long. The goal was to construct an updated, more detailed timeline, integrating the physical evidence of the Anklet with the existing witness statements. The hope was that this new, tangible artifact would act as a Rosetta Stone, unlocking the secrets of Iulia Stoica's vanishing. The meticulous forensic examination of the broken Anklet yielded its first, critical secret. Under the unforgiving magnification of the laboratory microscope, a microscopic fleck of glitter resin was discovered clinging to the delicate charm. This was not merely generic sparkle. Forensic chemists identified a unique chemical signature within the resin, a specific blend of polymers and pigments that acted like a fingerprint for a cosmetic product. The painstaking process of cross-referencing this signature against extensive databases of beauty products eventually led investigators to a boutique nail bar located just miles from Miami Beach. The discovery immediately shifted the focus of the investigation. Detective Pinda's team converged on the nail bar, scrutinizing its records and interviewing staff. This line of inquiry, previously unimaginable, soon uncovered a suspicious cash receipt. The transaction, unusually large for a single service and paid entirely in cash, stood out in the establishment's digital ledger. The timing of this receipt, just days before Iulia's disappearance, raised immediate red flags, linking a specific individual or party to a distinct, traceable cosmetic product that now resided on Iulia's Anklet. The case was no longer a random vanishing. It was beginning to coalesce around a deliberate act. Armed with these new, tangible connections, investigators revisited the vast, often overwhelming, archives of surveillance footage from the Miami Beach area. Advances in digital forensics over the past 13 years allowed for the creation of sophisticated surveillance mosaics, composite timelines constructed from fragmented camera feeds around the hotel and the beach. What these mosaics revealed was chilling and irrefutable. Carefully pieced together, the footage showed Iulia Stoica and her newlywed husband being systematically observed and followed from the moment they left their hotel valet. The surveillance was not random. It was a deliberate, coordinated effort by unidentified individuals who meticulously shadowed the couple's movements. This pivotal discovery transformed the entire understanding of Iulia's disappearance, suggesting a premeditated targeting rather than a tragic accident or spontaneous crime. The cold case had finally found its incendiary spark, igniting a new, more focused hunt for justice. The disparate threads of evidence, once scattered across 13 years, now wove into an undeniable tapestry of truth. The unique glitter resin, meticulously extracted from Iulia Stoica's broken Anklet, led directly to the boutique nail bar, an establishment now inextricably linked to a suspicious cash receipt. That receipt, a transaction of unusual size and paid entirely in cash, illuminated a financial trail that pointed not to a luxury service, but to a clandestine payment. When these financial connections were cross-referenced with the chilling surveillance mosaics, the complete picture of Iulia's final hours emerged with horrifying clarity. The footage, pieced together from various vantage points, revealed that Iulia and her newlywed husband had been systematically targeted and shadowed from the moment they departed their hotel valet. This was no random disappearance. It was a premeditated act, meticulously planned and executed. The revelation was stark and brutal. Iulia Stoica had not simply vanished, she had been abducted and murdered. The individuals captured in the surveillance mosaics, the very shadows that had followed the couple, were identified as the perpetrators, hired to carry out the deadly plot. The motive, rooted in financial gain, became painfully clear as investigators traced the suspicious cash transaction to the orchestrator of the crime. The anklet, lost for over a decade, provided the crucial forensic link, while the financial and visual evidence solidified the identities of those responsible. The culmination of the reopened investigation brought about the swift arrests of the individuals involved. Faced with irrefutable evidence, the forensic match of the glitter resin, the Mning financial records, and the unequivocal surveillance footage, the perpetrators offered no viable defense. Their subsequent convictions provided a measure of justice, though it could never fully restore the life so cruelly taken. For Detective Carla Pinda, the resolution brought a profound sense of closure. The weight of a 13-year unsolved mystery finally lifted. Her unwavering commitment, even in the face of dormancy, had ultimately prevailed. Beatriz Mora, Iulia's maid of honor, found a tragic understanding in the truth, allowing a painful process of mourning to finally begin. Even lifeguard Nico Furrer, a peripheral figure, could finally comprehend the chilling secret the old shack had held. Iulia Stoica's case stands as a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice, highlighting how even the smallest, most overlooked artifact can hold the key to the most enduring mysteries. A broken anklet, tangled in a forgotten towel bin, became the unexpected catalyst for unlocking a 13-year-old cold case, demonstrating the enduring power of forensic science and the unwavering tenacity of those who refuse to let the vanished remain forgotten.